Welcome, folks. Welcome to my video, Family No Contact with Children. Um, I've been reading and researching a lot, and some of the things I found are very interesting, actually. And I think I'm pretty sure that most of the parents of these children, like myself, are good family. They mean well. They try to give their children everything. And I understand, in order to do that, you have to work a lot to get it. Unless you're born with a silver spoon and you're next to the royal family, um, you've got to make money somehow, and that takes a long time. I don't know if anybody that just walks out and gets a quick $1 million job. Like these things are worked on all the time. But one of the things, and it doesn't mean, I'm sorry, let me back up. That doesn't mean to be very rich. That just means to make enough money to also give the children, right? So you're kind of looking like the upper class, though you may not be. You may be in the lower class. And not that there's a big, I mean, there is a big distinction. I'm just trying to say that, financially, you have to be able to have some type of income for the household and then separate to the children. Okay. And the reason you're giving them more is usually because you're making up for not being there. And I personally really understand that. When Christmas comes around, we overgive. And, the children aren't going to play with as many toys as you think they are. And eventually, as they, grow bigger, you're going to notice that what you give them is not going to satisfy them because they wanted more. Okay? Like you've taught them from the little point of, toddlers that we give a lot of gifts. We give a big birthday. Um, we give birthday parties, for example. And what we're actually teaching them is that if we have to gift exchange with everything, some people can afford whatever they want, but a lot of us can't afford that type of thing. And we have to save, which is in my other video, is Family Now and Then. And we're trying to make money to survive and to give to our children. So we have to work. So when it comes to that, try not to be giving quite as much to the children so that they have no expectations. Um, that they're not going to come back and haunt you because you didn't give them what they wanted. At the age of 21 or 24, some kids would have received cars. But if you're not in that financial bracket, you can't get your child a car, right? If everybody's wearing leather jackets at some school, you can't afford that leather jacket. Okay, so being realistic. Oh, and also, you may be an executive. That doesn't mean that they're not going to downgrade and you're going to lose your job. That means that you're not going to have enough for those days that you thought were coming pretty easy. Trust me. I have a lot of executives around me who have lost their jobs, and it's not a pretty picture. And this is why they're learning to cut cost where they can. So, one of the things of children with no contact is they're upset with you. They really are. And it's not the fact that you didn't love them, it's the fact that they realized when they were younger, times were really good. And you probably spent more time at home. But as they grew, their needs grew, university grew, things like that grew. Um, Also, there's accidents, and that happened, that people couldn't make enough money because they were, medically disqualified from a lot of work now. So people never thought of that at the beginning. And we always expect everything to be just flying fine. And life doesn't fly that way. Okay. I personally took it on as something that my kids would have done. And for some reason, one encouraged the other, and both children did it. My granddaughter, same thing. They wiped her away. I have a grandson I've never seen and never will meet. And I had to come to grips with that. Okay. After now going on 3 years, um, surprisingly, I had to find my way through it. And believe it or not, I did. I found my way through that, that it's not my fault. It's not their fault. But I believe that whatever drove them apart was because we needed that distance and we didn't realize it. We didn't realize what our children were doing back when. Like sometimes your child's snarky, and these are kind of the visions you want to look at right as soon as the child's position changes and they start correcting you about things. Usually in the teens, okay, and then towards the later teens. What you're finding is that these things could have been corrected when they were younger children and you spent more time with them. Really, that would have been correction, and it would have shown them that that's what they did years ago. Now we can't spend that quality time, so we buy things and that hope that they'll love us even more because they have, you know, more things to play on. Playing on things and playing games and taking them places is different than, here's all the game boys and here's all the, next electronic things. And here's the little things you can play on with your friends. Well, what if your friends doesn't even have it? So they've got to come over and you've got to buy extra consoles or extra things they can play with your child. So these things eventually get taken because you grant them whatever and they take advantage of it. But there is a thing that says that there is parts of Christianity that says, and the child will honor thy mother and father. That goes away. They don't care about the mother and father. They care about what they are going to receive. So I probably would cut back on some things, but also, when you can't see that, your guides and God will see that this has come to be. There's no more belligerency from the children. You shouldn't have to take that. There's no more arguing. And your guides, your spirits, your family that's passed on know that you're taking on things that you don't need to take on. And you can't see that. And I believe that now that I look back, I believe that. And I believe that, all the harassment that I got from my daughter, it was, I could see her getting to anger. And at some point, although she pushed me many times and hit, but not hard enough for me to say, I'm not taking anymore. Well, I'm not walking away. I would just ignore her for a couple days and hope she figured it out. She never did. And that's where I should have known the difference. But because nobody talks about those things and because nobody wants to talk about those things, I had to search it out. I had to look for what people thought. And I looked in every corner. And now I know that I should have been more strict from day one. And I should have, you know, drug them off to church on Sundays, as that is the basis, of our civilization, pretty much. If you're not going to be honest, truthful, no killing, honor the parents, these type of things, being a good soul, and you move to the other side, well, you see how the war is going today, so there you go. And kids attacking children, um, killing other people that are of different religion. These things have come to pass and they were expected. Yes, they were. And it might sound like I'm a little bit of going to be a preacher here, but for a few minutes, yeah, I think I can handle that because we never look back and say, like, where did it all start? Like, not in just my family. I'm talking worldwide. We're not the only state, country, province, um, nation that has this. This is everywhere, and it's grown exponentially. And murdering is not right. The abuse of drugs is not right. I mean, we're now talking mentally. It's affecting the children. And the children become adults, and as they grow, they think they can do just about anything. Random knifings on the street is horrific. The pick on the elderly, pushing them down, stealing their purse. I don't know if anybody carries anyone anymore. Um, people trying to steal other people's property, their cars. We have a lot of cars being gone through here and where I live recently, and they're teens between 18 and 21, and like one girl said, she never thought to lock her vehicle outside the house, and she unfortunately, because of two busy children, had left her wallet in the vehicle that night and never thought about it again. And then when she went in the morning and took her kids to sports, um, she had a small accident, went to get her wallet, found out it was missing. And that's the point where she called the police, of course, for the little accident. And they came, and then she told them that a lot of the cars in her area had been riffraffed that night and things were stolen. And her wallet was also missing, unfortunately. So these type of things shouldn't be happening, right? So yes, we have a lot of bad going on in the world, but that doesn't mean we can't turn that around and start with our children. They need to be taught and taught young. That's one thing I did with my granddaughter is I did teach her that we give to other people. We collect bottles, we do these type of things. She was in a few pageants, and what it taught her, and I learned from, is we supported a lot of functions like the outdoor living shelters people, animals, shelters, things like that. We also got food for the food banks, and for the different people that were running projects. We also gave to them. We also gave to police departments, for example. And she eventually loved giving because she saw how it made the places look and how happy those people were. And by the time she was probably, I want to say maybe 10, she would make sure, even if she went, say, to a fair and won 3 toys, if a child younger than her or same age was walking around with no toy, she would unbelievably just say, "Come with me, I've got to do this." And she didn't want to get lost, so she took me with her, and she would give a toy to whoever didn't have one. And I really, heart-wise, it was like, I can't believe I taught this child. And I did right. I did right by her because I was actually taking more time and care with her. So it became more important to me that she does it right because I've always been taught that, and that's one of the things I do is love the animals, support all the groups, and usually twice a year, the homeless people in the shelters all ask for clothes. So anything that anybody's outgrown here, we don't throw it out. Sorry, an allergy got me here somewhere. I always save all my stuff and pack it up knowing. And when there's sales, I make sure that there's things that are will last a long time because when they want clothes, they want food for them too. So I always make sure that I have the care bags and have them prepped and ready so that when the call comes out twice a year, then I've got my stuff ready. So it's something like that that you can actually teach your children as well when they're very young. And I know most people, if you're already looking at this, you're saying, well, that doesn't help me now. No, but it may help you with your grandchildren, right? Um, there's not too much that we can do with those that left. They've got to find their way. And there's ground rules. And if they come back, those children, it's ground rules. You can't swear to me. You can't hit me. You can't take my property. So They're all ground rules that the children should have been shown a long time ago. But again, like I said, people are afraid to mention these things. And I kind of, like one friend of mine looked at a video and she goes, I can't believe you just put that out there. And I said, yeah, like I don't care anymore. I said, we did something wrong. We probably didn't discipline them enough. And that doesn't mean, giving them a beating or time out in the corner. It means we didn't teach the positive soon enough. And we didn't lay verbal ground rules that says, you don't come into my house and take stuff once you've moved out. No, you don't. And by saying, oh, the door's always unlocked. If you've been doing this all your life, it's time that they show up when you're home. Okay, so there's ground rules that need to be presented, and that's what I suggest from here on. Like, there's always, even if they come back, yes, there is ground rules. Same with your grandchildren as they get older and they want to come and visit when I'm here. Okay, now spend time with you, and that's the big thing about looking at the children that leave and never come back. And that's not your loss, that's theirs, but it's teaching you that distance had to happen. Yes, it's sad, but hopefully they have good memories of when they left and decided not to stay with you. No contact. And it could be a mental condition that they have that just says, everybody's doing it at this age, so I think I'll do it too. Maybe. But the fact that they chose to leave because they weren't content does not mean they should expect you to suffer, which is what they're expecting. But I suggest you look at it as a more positive time out and just say, we needed the break. They needed to learn, and we needed to learn something different. It wasn't going right. So I hope for some of you this is eye-opening, and I'll continue in the next video. So for now, if you could you please hit the like button and subscribe, and I will be back another day very soon. Thank you.